Welcome to Donna's World. Hello everyone. Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to Donna's World. Today I'm going to talk about a particular type of extremist. A couple of weeks ago, to coincide with Prince Harry and his wife Meghan's visit to Nigeria, I did a video in which I was quite critical of them, particularly around issues to do with the way they have handled family relationships, and had a massive response. And I actually did another video last Friday, and this is actually the third one because the responses and reactions keep pouring in. And I want to address them as they occur. So I'm not going to talk about Harry and Meghan forever, but they are the issue on my table right now. And something I've learned is that you either have, obviously there are lots of very balanced, normal people in between, but there's a significant group of Harry and Meghan fans who are totally obsessed, and they're on one extreme of this, at one extreme of the spectrum. And these people believe that Harry and Meghan can do no wrong. Everything they do is fantastic. Their trip to Nigeria was a huge triumph. Every Nigerian VIP and celebrity lined up to bow and scrape to them. And they're just amazing, perfect people who've never made any mistakes in their life. And anybody who attacks them is a complete bastard or bitch. Okay, so on the other end of the spectrum are obsessive Meghan and Harry haters. As far as this bunch are concerned, everything Meghan and Harry do is wrong. Nothing they ever do is right. Every dress Meghan wears is terrible. Harry has never been worth anything, or at least ceased to be worth anything the day he met Meghan. So, as far as the haters are concerned, the charity work he's doing for disabled soldiers is meaningless. Her moderate success as an actress in the Suits series, drama series, is irrelevant. In fact, it never happened. And so, you have these people who just can't be balanced. They can't say, well, this is good about them, that is bad about them. It's just all good, all bad, all or nothing. Having been a victim of some of these extremists, I would like to ask them to stop. Let me start with the obsessive Harry and Meghan fans who have attacked me and accused me of being a stooge, a white stooge, a traitor, a slave to British monarchy and imperialism, because I don't think that Harry and Meghan are perfect. I think they've made quite a few mistakes, as I have, as many of us have. I should think that almost everybody watching this video has also made mistakes in their lives. And of course, being a journalist and public commentator, I'm entitled to comment on people who have laid their lives out in the public sphere. And so, yeah, well, Harry and Meghan, not my favorite people. And it annoys me that some people choose to insult me because I think that Meghan should try and see her 70-something-year-old father before he dies, no matter what he did. And from what we've been told, he didn't do anything that terrible. I'm all about hoping also that Harry and his brother William reconcile, because they used to be so close before, whatever sibling rivalries may have existed. I don't think there's anything wrong with pointing out that such reconciliations would be the desirable and ethical thing to do, really, is for everybody to step back and, apologize for anything that they have done to hurt the other person. And half these people who are calling me a white stooge and slave to the British establishment have got profound inferiority complexes. I'm talking about the black ones. See, I was in the UK practically all my life. I came to Nigeria in middle age. And all the time I was in the UK, I never applied for a British passport. I still don't have a British passport, even though I was entitled to one for a very long time. And married to a British person, and lived there practically most of my life, and chose to come to a country that is run by black people to see if I could contribute to the development of the African continent, the motherland. Some of these people who are sitting there are insulting me because I dared to say that Meghan and Harry may not be entirely saintly, have never done anything to further the cause of the black race except sit around complaining bitterly about racism, which oftentimes they are imagining, and oftentimes the treatment they receive is because of their own shortcomings, not because they're black. And I'm not saying racism doesn't exist before the morons rush in and say, oh, she said there's no such thing as racism. There is racism, because I'm moving on to that in a minute. I'm just saying, please, if a black person has an opinion that happens sometimes to coincide with the opinions of some white people, it doesn't make them a slave of the white establishment. It just means that, you know, we are all human beings, and that there are certain areas in which we have common opinions sometimes. Now, let's move on to the haters. I'd like them to stop as well. And I particularly want to address my annoyance to a group of white journalists and commentators who have made it their business in the past few days to attack Harry and Meghan in a way that is clearly racist. They're not really talking about stuff like, oh, you know, Harry, you used to be so close to your brother, why don't you go and patch things up? You know, you're partly responsible for this quarrel. You shouldn't have gone on to Oprah when your grandfather was dying in hospital. They don't go down that kind of path. Rather, they sort of just attack in a really, really bigoted, prejudiced way. And one of the things they've been doing these past few days is to have a go at Nigeria for inviting Nigerians for inviting Meghan and Harry. I hasten to add that it was not the Nigerian government per se that invited them, and that, you know, they received a reasonable response, but it's not like the president and the first lady and the entire cabinet lined up to meet them. And these people, these white racist commentators, have made all kinds of statements like criticizing Meghan and Harry for shaking the hands of people whom they claim are criminals. I would know, I haven't looked into it. But you know, if you visit somewhere and people smile at you and hold their hands out, the normal thing is to shake the hand back. Meghan and Harry did nothing wrong greeting people who greeted them. Another thing is that they've been laughing and saying things like, oh, they didn't know that there was such a thing as polo in a poverty-stricken country like Nigeria. Well, if you did not know that rich Nigerians play polo, then you're quite ignorant of the way the world is. Nobody knows everything, but please do not inflict your ignorance on the public space. I remember going to polo matches in the UK as a teenager, as a guest of a Nigerian friend who owned a polo team with horses that he flew in from Argentina, and he used to play in the UK, and I remember he used to play with Prince Charles when Prince Charles was Prince of Wales, and he used to play in Florida, and he played in other countries. So yes, polo is a thing in Nigeria for rich people, just like it is a thing for rich people in India, a thing for rich people in Australia, and a thing for rich people in lots of other places. Now, you see, the thing is, if you believe that rich people shouldn't play polo because there are poor people suffering on the sidelines of society, that's a different thing from being rude about polo playing Nigerians if you're not rude about polo playing white people. And some of these racist white commentators who have made nasty remarks about Africa, one or two of them have quoted me because it suits their purposes to say, hey, there's this black woman in Nigeria who doesn't like Harry and Meghan either. And I'm just saying, don't put me, we're not on the same page, we're not coming from the same direction. I am an African nationalist. I am not interested in being used to prop up your pathetic argument or your pathetic arguments and your ignorance about things like who plays polo and who doesn't play polo. You know, keep my name out of your silly, toxic, ignorant dialogues and diatribes. And just remember that if you want your criticisms of Meghan and Harry to be credible, you actually need to make them reasonable, because if you make it so obvious that you dislike them purely because Meghan isn't entirely white, you're going to create a backlash in Commonwealth countries and amongst black and brown people, many of whom don't even particularly like them or don't like them at all, but can't bear the thought of them being attacked for that reason, you know? So, as I was talking to a couple of friends yesterday, and we agreed that all these sorts of like white anti-Meghan racists are muddying the waters. They're distracting attention from the very real mistakes that Harry and Meghan have made. And they're playing into the hands of people who pretend that Harry and Meghan's only mistakes, that Harry and Meghan have never made any mistake and have been wonderful, perfect people who've only been attacked for racial reasons. So what I would say is that life is too short for the kind of nonsense that we often shove down each other's throats. So the black people who think that they can be talking to me anyhow, as we say in Nigeria, should be very, very, just stay away from me, because I have got no regard for a certain type of black person, none at all. The white people who are going after Meghan and Harry in a very toxic, vicious, bigoted way, I've got no regard for them either. So I don't intend to talk about Harry and Meghan forever, but that's just, you know, it just seems to be such a major issue. It's strange because there are many more important things to talk about. I mean, I've just come back from Rwanda, where about 1 million people were murdered in the space of 100 days in 1994. And I went to see the Genocide Museum, where 250,000 of the victims are buried. I mean, those are the things that really matter in life, not whether some second-rate actress and young prince who's not even the heir to the throne are up to. I mean, you know, if they want to live in California, let them live in California. These things are minor compared to the very, very serious things that are happening in the world today. So, you know, I'm going to talk about my feelings about what I saw in Rwanda at some point in the near future. And, you know, I think it's great if we can talk about, you know, Meghan's clothes and other things from time to time. Nothing wrong with a bit of light-hearted chit-chat. And I suppose when you look at the implications for the British royal family, it's not a totally trivial subject. We shouldn't really be obsessed about what they do. And we should sometimes remember that there are more important things in life, like the situation in Israel, the situation in the Ukraine, and the problems that African countries face. Thank you for listening. Bye.